Why relationships lose their magic. A common complaint about relationships is that they lose that initial fantastic feeling, that the wonderful feeling that comes with the start of the relationship fades over time. And a common complaint about failed relationships is that something changed. The other person changed. In this video, we'll explore why this happens and why this will happen in every single relationship. Sure, many long-term relationships, successful long-term relationships, create wonderful feelings, but those long-term relationship wonderful feelings are different in structure than the initial good feelings at the start of a relationship. First, we'll cover why that initial magic is always short-lived. Second, we'll explain how to create a much better, much more longer-term feeling. So where does that magic initial feeling come from? Because humans are so expensive and time-consuming to raise, the initial emotional glue that pulls men and women together must be massively strong to last long enough to raise a kid. And that emotional glue feels fantastic when you're in the beginning phases of falling in love with somebody. But from an evolutionary standpoint, that initial good feeling, that strong emotional glue, is only the initial event of a three-stage process. Way back in the days of hunter-gatherers, young lovers were apart far longer than they were together. But in modern times, that initial feeling still exists. But it is an initial force of attraction. For most of human history, we can see a three-stage binding process between man and woman. The first was the initial attraction. This lasted a long time under a frame of scarcity where the couple were apart much longer than they were together, and when they were apart, they couldn't communicate. Then eventually they became intimate, and this kicked off the second stage of that three-stage attraction process. If you check your own personal history, you'll find that when you were intimate with somebody for the first time, that tends to significantly enhance those good feelings you feel when you're around each other. That's why it's metaphorically called making love. The third stage comes when the lady gets pregnant. This is when the masculine feeling of providing kicks in, obligation kicks in, and the feminine feeling of being cared for by a strong man kicks in. And so long as the relationship is socially proofed by the community and validated by an authority figure in the community, this relationship will last a lifetime. Now, how does this work in modern times? You see somebody and you get those good feelings whenever you're around them. Then you become sexually intimate and those good feelings are enhanced. But compared to ancient humans, this is kind of where it ends. There really is no third stage where the family is created. The relationship is not nearly as validated by social proof and authority. And for most couples today, the decision to be in a committed relationship is really based only on those initial good feelings. Then the law of diminishing returns kicks in. The couple gets more and more used to each other. The mutual one-itis eventually wears off. This is a very rough metaphor, but here we go. When you are really hungry, eating feels fantastic. And for the first few bites, nothing feels better. But then diminishing returns kicks in. Pretty soon you aren't getting the same pleasure out of each subsequent bite. And pretty soon you don't want to eat anymore. Then several hours later, you're hungry again and you repeat the same process. This is more or less the same structure of serial monogamous, but on a much longer time frame. You meet somebody and it feels really good in the beginning. Then you make love and enhance that initial feeling. But then the more time you spend with each other, the more you get familiar with each other. Pretty soon, that magic feeling fades and you start to wonder why you were in a relationship with this person. Before, when you first met, it was pure benefits, zero costs. But the longer the relationships goes on, the more the actual costs of the relationship start to present themselves. And for most people, it's only a matter of time before the costs begin to exceed the benefits. Then the relationship ends and you spend some time alone. Then you find another partner and the cycle repeats. How do you avoid this? In the past, we were significantly constrained by our environment. Men and women very much needed each other, particularly when the kids came. Today, that can happen, but it's not going to be done for you by the environment. It has to be done by you and your partner. You have to have a legitimate reason for being together other than to experience those fantastic initial feelings. There needs to be a mutual feeling of support and encouragement, just like there was back in the caveman days. This is when a much better feeling can develop that is much stronger, much more pleasing than the initial magic feeling. The more time you spend with your partner, the more time you experience that mutual support and encouragement, the more you will begin to deeply value the relationship. And this mutual support and encouragement will create a much deeper bond that is much more profound than that initial magic good feeling. A common mistake is that once the both of you experience that initial magic feeling and decide on a committed relationship, the relationship is kind of set and forget. This is a huge mistake. Relationships require a lot of maintenance to keep them healthy. If you understand that the initial magic will fade, you'll have a much better chance of creating and maintaining a long-term healthy relationship. If you understand that relationships require a lot of work to keep them healthy, you'll have a much better chance of success. If you choose a partner with similar life goals and a similarly strong commitment to keep the relationship healthy, you'll have a much better chance of success. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. To learn more, please visit mindpersuasion.com.